Good morning. We're learning a mimer that was said on the 13th of Tammuz, which is today, the Friedrich Rebbe liberation. Yesterday was his birthday. So this mimer speaks about the 90th chapter in Tefila Le Moshe.
Oh, that's right. We talked
And,
about that before. Yes, last week.
The mimer is suitable to the years of the Rabbi Ayas was born 19. I think it was.
He was born like 1888 or something.
Yeah, and this man was like, he's 90 years old from 1969.
So
He should be 89 years old because
so
they started saying
the capital
90. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This mimer was edited by the Rebbe himself, and it's called the Mugi mimer. Let's say the mimer. Tefila Le Moshe Ish Alikim Uvarkush Admor B'Sichos Hayidua, referring to the Rabbi Rayat, the Friedrich Rebbe, and his famous Sicha Shemizmer Zeh Shach LeGeula. He says that this Mizmer is connected with the Geula. Geula of Yutis Kislev, the Geula of 19th of Kislev, Kaidua Shalmo Zak and Hammer B'Cholim Shil Tilim Moshnechak Me'achedesh. So the Alter Rebbe used to say Tilim, the way it was divided, is divided to the days of the month. Cheben Sham Mizmor Tefila Le Moshe Atchal Shil Tilim Achot Shilim Yutis Chedesh. Since Tefila Le Moshe is the beginning, first capital for the 19th, the day of the month. So therefore he said on the day of his Geula, this Mizmor. Umamshich b'sicha sheDavid ben Chisro, the Rebbe Ayat says in his sicha, in his talk, that David Melech Yisrael, David, the king of the Jewish people, he had in tradition, David Amelech, that this was compiled, or lyrics and the melody was it was written by Moshe Rabbeinu. Chibur Moshe. This was composed by Moshe. Moshe said 11 mizmarim, 11 capitals, which is like mizmor, is like a melody, keneged chadas or shvatim, corresponding to 11 tribes. Mamshich b'sicha, the Rebbe Ayat continues in his talk that cholas hamizmor adnei moin ato greimer. That's the beginning of the mizmor. V'siyum hamizmor v'inoyam avaye greimer. Moin v'noyam and oisan oisius yitzach lovin hakesher the shlosh sheinayin. It says Moin and Noyam is the same letters. Mem Ayin Nun, Nun Ayin Mem, same letters, different in different order, but it's the same letters. So we need to understand the connection of three things. We need to understand the connection between this capital to Yutis Kislev, as the Alter Rebbe said. Right, because the Alter Rebbe said this Mizmor when he was liberated also. Tefila Le Moshe.
Right, because it was the day of the week.
The day of the week was the 19th of Kislev, and that's what Alter Rebbe used to say.
By the week.
Yeah.
Right.
It's called monthly order. The monthly order.
We do the month. Well, I do the month.
So if you look at the day you test, the day
Right.
19, there's Tefila Le Moshe. Starts with capital 9.
I got it.
So, so it says the first thing we have to understand, what's the connection between 90 to the Geula, to redemption, and this Mizmor was composed by Moshe Rabbeinu, and the third thing we need to understand, what's the connection between Moin and Noyam, another Mizmor that was composed by Moshe Rabbeinu. Why does he bring a proof that this capital, this chapter, this melody was said by Moshe Rabbeinu? It doesn't have to bring a proof. It says clearly, Tefila Le Moshe, the prayer of Moshe. Okay, so we're left with a few questions, about 3 questions. We need to understand the connection between this capital to Yutas Kislev, to understand why it was mentioned that Moshe composed it, and what's the connection to Moin V'Inoyam. That the beginning of the capital is Ashem Moinoi, Adne Moinoi, Ato, and the end of it V'Inoyam. And Moin and Noyam is the same letter. So we have to understand what's the connection over here. Shlavor is al pi dua. First of all, we have to understand that the redemption that took place of the 19th of Kislev is the beginning of Yafutzum and Isecha Chutzu.
Spreading out of the Chassidus.
Exactly. Spreading out Chassidus started, got its kickoff on Yutis Kislev. That's the beginning, that's the preparation for the coming of Mashiach. Hashem Tov revealed that he one time had elevation of his neshama, Aliyas neshama, and when he made it to the chamber of Mashiach, he asked Mashiach, when are you coming?
Right.
And Mashiach responded to him, when your Torah, when your teachings of Hasidus will be spread out, chutza, to the outside. That's why they said that the primary thing to bring Mashiach is to spread the wellsprings of Hasidus outwards. And this primarily started with Yutis Kislev.
It's 200 years already.
Yutis Kislev was a new stage in the revelation of Hasidus.
So how much more?
Pre the Shachus Mizmer Zeh, the Gula Yutis Kislev. So what's the connection between this capital to Yutis Kislev? Meir Gam Asher Chuso LaGeula Asido. Also shows some connection to the future redemption. וזהו של האח השם בשיחו שמזמר זה. של האח השם בשיחו שמזמר זה. After he said in the שיחו שמזמר זה, this capital שייך לגאולה דיסקס, as שייך says the connection with the redemption of דיסקס, ממשיך continues to tell us שמזמר זה חיבור מוישה. This capital was composed by Moshe. The Moshe Gol Rishon Gol Moshe is the first redeemer and the last redeemer. And he emphasizes, points out that David, Melech Yisrael, the King David, had in Maseres as a tradition that this Mizmer, this capital, was composed by Moshe Rabbeinu. שבזה מרם מזין מישהו שנגיע כאן הוא זה שמשה גאל את ישראל מגלות מצרים. The fact that Moshe גאל את ישראל, redeemed the Jewish people from Golus Mitzrayim, שהגאולה מצרים יקדום לגאולה עתיד. Going out of Mitzrayim, the redemption of Mitzrayim, aka the Exodus, is the Akdama, is the preface, the preparation for the future redemption. Future redemption of David, Malka Mashiach, through King David, Melech HaMashiach, King Mashiach. King Mitzvah, Chometz Mitzrayim, Aron Niflois. It says that the days that you left Mitzrayim, you will see wonders. Maybe it's Maimer HaMidrash. Achad HaSmizmerim, Omar Moshe. Moshe said 11 Mizmerim. 11 capitals. The v'chad also shnei yonim. What's number 11? It says echod shelifnei ulemaylo me'eser. You have one that is above the 10. Chad also, it's not just 10, there's one over it. The v'chad also echod shelifnei ulemaylo me'eser. Where it says shelamaylo me'eser spheres. That's referencing to the infinite light of Hashem that is above the 10 spheres. And to chad v'lo b'chushbon, you are one, but you're not included in the cheshbon in the 10 spheres. Echad also amshochas echod chad v'lo b'chushbon be'eser b'chol ha'eser spheres. And then there is chad that is not one, that is not accounted for in the 10. It's the Ein Sof, is the infinite light of Hashem. Be'eser b'chol ha'eser spheres. There is one that is not counted within the 10 spheres. V'ad b'spheres ha'malchus, and even in the spheres ha'malchus. V'ad rab. Does not mean that echod, the one, is drawn primarily in supernal spheres, and is drawn also in malchus. He wants to say the ikar amshochas bechinas chad v'le b'chushbon spheres malchus. The drawdown of the one that is not counted, the Ein Sof, the one that is not counted with the 10, is primarily drawn down into malchus, into the lowest level. Why? Because malchus, the root of malchus is pnimus hakesed. All the spheres are rooted in the externality of the kesed, the outer part of the outer aspect of kesed. Shenim of binyanes spheres, that is counted in 10 spheres, as described in Kabbalah and Chassidus. The kesed is situated above the 10 spheres, but nevertheless is the root and the source for the spheres, and that's why it's counted with the spheres. When the kesed is counted, einat das, you're not counting das when the kesed is counted. The root of malchus is associated with the innermost aspect of keter, that is not counted. Chad v'lo b'chushbon. So, ela shebegil sfiras malchus is lamata mikol asfiras. In what is revealed to us, what is exposed to us, is the Sfiras HaMalchus is beneath all the spheres. Malchus is in the bottom. So much so that it became the source for creating limited worlds like creation, formation, and action. Ad le'ilom hazeh all the way down to this physical world. In time of Mashiach, the root of Sfiras HaMalchus will be revealed. One, and not in the account of 10. Not limited to the 10th. The Ein Sof, without the limitation of the 10. Within the attribute of Malchus will be the revelation of the Chad that is there, the Ein Sof that is in Malchus. Especially, there will be a revelation of its root, the way it descended into creation, formation, and action. Through the root of Malchus being revealed within Sfiras Malchus itself, there will be a revelation in the worlds, revelation in the world. Doesn't mean he's not coming to tell us that the primary revelation will be in the higher worlds, in the spiritual worlds. Rather, it wants to tell us that even in this physical world will be a revelation. The primary revelation will take place in this physical world, and by having the primary revelation in this physical world, that would complete God's intention in creating the world, the Dira b'tachtenim, having a dwelling place in this world. This physical world, this lowly world, there's nothing low, there's nothing beneath it, nothing below it. So will be a dwelling place for Hashem, dwelling place for Hashem's essence. Now we can understand why he mentioned the Midrash that Moshe Rabbeinu composed 10 capitals. שבזה מרומז השייכוס למזמור תפילה למשה. Within this capital is also hinting, within this chapter is also hinting that about Tefila Le Moshe, the connection of Tefila Le Moshe to the future redemption. שניון של מזמור זה שהוא הראש והתחילו ל-11 מזמורים. What's the concept of this capital? It's the beginning of the 11 capitals. That's the flow, the drawdown that comes from the 1, the 11th, that is above the 10, is not counted within the 10. So the shleimus, the completion of it, will be in the future redemption. At that point, you will have the completion of Hashem's intent of having a deal with Tachtenim, a dwelling place in this world. Right? We said there's a pasuk says Moin l'shivtecha Hashem, Moin ato. What's up? Adnei Moin ato, and the end of the Mizmor is Vinayam Avai. What's the connection between Moin and Naya? So he writes, the Moin Malchus. Moin is connected with Malchus. Moin is like having a dwelling place, a home. Al derech beis ishtoi. It says his dwelling place is his wife. That's the beginning of tractate Yoma. It says his dwelling place is his wife. Isha in Kabbalah, a woman in Kabbalah is Makabel, is receiving. And the man is the Mashpia. So it's symbolizing the attribute of Malchus, that receiving from the Sephira that is on top of it. From Yisoid. V'noyam tainu goati. So Moin is Bais, is Makabel. And, Moin is a home, a recipient, taker. V'noyam who's Atik. Noyam is connected with Tainu, with Atik. So it's two different levels. Atik is the Pnimus HaKesser, the innermost level of Kesser. And really what Moin tells us, Moin is referring to Malchus Makabel. Noyam is referring to Atik. It comes to say that the Sheish Malchus, the root of Malchus, is all the way in Atik. Shleima, the Echad also Shemainu Eisis Neyam. Fact that he mentioned in the Sikha, the Rebbe Ayatz mentioned the Sikha about the connection between 11 and Moin is Noyam, comes to hint to us the Ramez Shagilu De'echod Chadli B'chushman, the revelation of Ein Sof, the 11th, the Echod, Be'es Spheros in the 10th bill, Be'ika B'Sfiras HaMalchus will take place primarily in the attribute of Malchus that we just mentioned before. Kisher Sfiras HaMalchus B'Atik. Why? Because the root of Malchus is in Atik. Not like all the other spheres that they're rooted in Chitzonius HaKeser, in Arich. The outer layer or outer part of Keser. Uviu העניין, פרוטיוס יש more details, you because of Rashab. The Rebbe Rashab wrote a mimer, also starts the same verse, Tefila Le Moshe, said in Tafrish Samach, the Ita B'Zer, Tefila Le Moshe, Tefilas Oshu. Oh, that part we discussed last week, about it's the prayer of the rich. Right. That's the difference between the Tefila Le David, prayer of David, and prayer of Moshe. Tefila Le David Tefilas Oni, Tefila Le Moshe Tefilas Oshu. Prayer of Moshe Rabbeinu is the prayer of the rich. The prayer of David HaMelech is the prayer of the poor. And he points out that the purpose of davening is to ask for the things that you are deficient of, asking Hashem to fill your deficiencies. So since the wealthy does not lack anything, a true wealthy man is someone that is wealthy spiritually and physically. So if he's not deficient, what's the purpose of his prayer? If the purpose of prayer is just to, as the Rambam writes, purpose of prayer is just to ask for the things that you are lacking, and the rich man does not lack anything spiritually, physically, financially, all these things he has, what's the purpose of his prayer? We need also to understand, it says in the Gemara, Ksubis 67, it says, regarding giving the poor a sufficient amount to satisfy his deficiency, to satisfy what he lacks. You are not commanded to make him rich.
Right. You see this last week.
Right. We said the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu was wealthy physically is because that he was wealthy spiritually.
Right.
But anyway, so even if he was used to have a horse, to ride a horse, and a servant that would run in front of him. So although he's right now poor, you still have to provide it to him. The mizeh, move on. It says you don't have to make him wealthy, but you have to give him some of the things that he had before. The mizeh move on she'inya ashur solerak she'nechos shum davar. So wealth doesn't mean that you're just not lacking anything. Elashu filusus derkaval loads upon a horse to ride and a servant to run in front of you. Elashu mushpa b'ribushav, that he has abundance. He has much more than he needs. So we need to understand further what is the purpose of the prayer of the wealthy. So Rabbi Rashab explains it. And it's explained in other sources as well, that the prayer of the wealthy is not for himself. Right. He brings the example of the Midrash. It says 3 people are coming to take from the king, asking the king for something. Each one makes his own presentation. The third one came in front of the king and asked the king what. The king asked him, "What are you looking for? What do you want?" So he answered him, "I'm not asking for myself. anything. It's not about me. I'm not here for myself. Ela Medina place. There's a place so and so that it's destroyed. I'm asking you to make a decree that it should be built. So in the Mashal it says that when the first one comes asking forgiveness, the second one comes, is granted what he wants. But the third one, that asking for others, what does the king do? This great country is for you. This ator gedelo yilecho. That becomes your. Why? Because a king is so thrilled that he's asking for others. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't ask for himself; he asked for other people. So we need another biur, another explanation. Since prayer is the service of the heart, so it's self-understood that even when you daven for other people, his davening is done in such a way that their lack, their deficiency touches his heart, bothers him. It's as if he himself is lacking something.
King.
No, you pray. It's prayer of a wealthy man.
Okay, so
He doesn't just daven for other people. He feels the deficiency as if he has it.
Okay.
Even though he doesn't have it. It's like praying for someone's health, even though you're perfectly healthy, but you feel his pain.
Right.
It's as if, God forbid, you have it. The more their deficiency touches his heart. His prayer is even more intense. Even the prayers for others, it's because that he's lacking. Why is it called Tefila Soshu? So if he feels the chisoren, so he has it. If he feels the deficiency so much, then he's not a wealthy man. Then he's deficient and he's lacking something. We said Oshu, someone that doesn't have any deficiency. If he daven in such a way that he feels it in his heart, your deficiency I feel, then I'm not Oshu. Similarly, I'm not Oshu. Kudas Sabir explains this concept. He says a wealthy man, it doesn't mean that you just have what you need with an abundance of what you need. Meaning you have more than what you need. Your very essence, your very core, you're a wealthy man. You are the true Rockefeller.
Yeah, okay, let's say, you got somebody that's rich and is great with his ruchnias today. I mean, now a person would feel like all the sorrow that we have, even that person would daven to get rid of all the sorrow.
Correct. So the question, if he's still considered Oshir, if he feels that pain of someone else.
I mean, now we got so much pain.
If he feels the lacking of someone else, it's still called Oshir. Yes or no?
Right.
ראינו דאושו ועוני השפיע מקבל, זה מובן שגם כשיושב מרובה, השפע שיש לו הוא לא משל עצמו, שקיבל מאחרים הוא עוני מקבל. Let me ask you, if you're giving a poor man shefa, meaning you give him a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a wealthy man and I give a poor man a lot, more than he needs.
Right.
Is he called now Oshir or Oni?
I think he's still an ani, because in his head he's still an ani.
That's what he says. He says, you remember I told you the difference between...
Oh yeah, the person that made the money now and the person who inherited the money.
No. That probably also there's a difference, but there's a difference between a schnorrer and a businessman. So what's the difference between a schnorrer and a businessman?
That's another Moshe gave.
He says the schnorrer, yes, both have good days and bad days. Meaning, some days the schnorrer gets people making pledges, and they actually he goes to them and they give him a lot of money.
Right.
He gets $100,000 check. And then you have the wealthy men sometimes have good days and bad days. But what's the difference? They both go through the...
Yeah.
So he says, like, the schnorrer in his good days also feels schnorrer. He also feels like a beggar, even in his good days.
Yeah.
And a wealthy man, even in his bad days, he feels like a businessman.
Ah.
Understand? The schnorrer, even in his good days, is still a taker.
Yeah.
He's still looking for a handout. Right? That's what the schnorrer is. He collects money. He's asking people to give him money. So even in his good days, somebody gave him $100,000 check. He's still feeling a schnorrer.
Right.
A businessman, even if he has a bad day, he feels like a giver. He's the one that helps other people. It says over here also that if you give a chef a merubah to a poor man, it doesn't change who he is. He's still a poor man. That's why we see that people that won the lottery but had the mindset of a poor man very quickly lost the money.
Yeah, but like that people in that book,
But if you give money to people who have the mentality of wealthy people,
right,
they will know how to handle it.
It's a
So the poor, just by giving him more money, does not change his status. He's still poor. Going to halacha, there's certain amounts where he is not allowed to ask anymore. But the status of poor man is still there because he's a taker.
Yeah.
A true definition of a wealthy man is a giver.
You know, the people that went through, like my father-in-law, Allah Shalom. So even when he had all the money, he always thought poor. He never thought.
He never enjoyed it, though.
Not really. I mean, he would listen. He helped everybody out with the simchas and stuff, enough to buy a house. But it was like you could tell he still had to feel like. I mean, it came in a way. It was good because when he didn't have it, he was.
We know how to handle it.
Sort of, yeah. But like to give it like.
He can live like poor, where he had a hard time handling the loss. It's two different things. Handling the loss is one thing, but to live, if he had that money, it wouldn't change his lifestyle. Understand?
Yeah. It's like okay, so like you go.
A lot of Holocaust survivors, they made a lot of money, but their lifestyle was still.
But I'm saying, like, if you go to, like, when we go for a Yontif, and they were bidding on the Aliyahs, he would feel like he should make a good bid. He wouldn't.
Right.
I got over that.
Right. No, some like to. Some whatever they would.
I'm not the biggest spender.
Whatever they would give, they give it privately. They don't like to.
That's another thing.
They don't like people to know. But they say just give it privately.
The Rebbe didn't like anonymous. He wanted, because he said if I see you giving X, then I'll be encouraged to give more. But if you're doing it by
under the table, yeah.
I don't see it. It doesn't encourage the next person to give. I think that's what the Rebbe said. Yeah, Rabbi Kanowski used to talk about that.
That's why שגם כשיושב מרובה, אבל שפע שיש לו לא משל עצמי, אלא שגם האחרים. If you have shefa, but it's not yours, it's given to you from others, הוא עני. He's still a poor man, he's still a makabel.
If you don't earn it, you don't feel it. I don't know.
V'inyan o shiru shemitzad atzmi yesh la'akeh. What is a true wealthy man that mitzad atzmi from his own he has everything.
Right.
We can connect it with the teaching of the rabbis and oni ela b'das. It says, what is a poor man and what is a wealthy man? The Gemara says, "Ein oni ela b'das." Poor man is someone that is poor.
That's where
doesn't have a knowledge.
You're pouring your head.
And what is a true man? No, shu b'das.
Right.
What is a das? Ki das or kol v'argosh. What we have chokhmah bina das. Chokhmah and bina is the part of the intellect that are utilized for understanding and grasping. But das is the hakor v'argosha, recognizing, feeling it, personal connection between the person, they're causing him to be connected with that. What's the advantage of das over chokhmah and bina? We said das is a kol v'argosha, is recognizing something, feeling it, creating a bond with it, creating a connection with it. So you can have chokhmah and bina, you can understand something but never feel, you never feel connected with it. Just because you know it and understand it, but it's just another...
It's book knowledge.
Book knowledge, so to speak, yeah. You understand it, well, it's beautiful, you move on. A das is something that I just... I'm applying this knowledge, I'm using this knowledge, I'm connecting myself with it. I have feelings about what I captured, what I understood. So it's a different level. So what's the uniqueness or the advantage of das, knowledge over wisdom and understanding?
More practical.
When you're learning something and you understand it, but intellectually only, without the iskashus, without the connection, without the bond, without the personal touch. Says, although you understood it, but you're not connected with it, you're not connected with the essence of it. What did you receive from it? Just the understanding. In Pirkei Avos yesterday, the chapter 5,
right,
it says over there about the different types of disciples, talmidim.
Right.
So each one explains to you how, like, how he captures the information,
like
and
the
sponge and how he processes it, how he retains it.
Yeah.
Each one at different levels.
Right.
One takes the pill, one takes the fruits, one touches the essence. And you can listen to a 5-minute talk, 5 people listening to a 5-minute talk, and you'll have each one capturing something else that was said.
Right.
And I guess the superior one would get the point, the very point that the teacher wanted to convey, rather than just capturing data that is not necessarily the point.
Yeah.
A lawyer looks at a letter, he has to check the date. Every little detail is significant, right?
Well, look at a star. A star for when you're doing the kasub or doing the
Right.
get.
So
If it's not right, it's mavato.
Right. But when you look at them at a proposal,
yeah,
right? You want to build a house. You look at the proposal. So you have 5 contractors that you're asking a 3,000 square foot home
yeah,
at on this lot. So what do you look at? You don't look at. You look at the bottom line. What is the bottom line? So what do they? Okay, he's going to charge X amount. He's going to charge X amount. He's going to charge.
But sometimes you get screwed by just doing that because they could be using not the best materials.
Right. I'm saying obviously you need to find out, but the first thing is the eye captures is
right.
what.
You want to see. So you'll check the lowest price for everything.
Let's see if it matches what they give you.
It works for you, but so many times like they do. Bottom line, you screw yourself with it.
So בעניין הקור והגוש הוא שהוא בעצם מכיר ומרגיש את הדובו. Said הקור והגושו is that, what does it mean? You yourself feel it. וזהו שעניין הניוס והשיעוס הוא בעיקר בדס. It says primarily being poor and being wealthy is in das, is in knowledge. כיוון שהידיעה שמצד האסכולה והעוונו היא כמו ידיעה נקנס, understanding something just through a scholar, just through intellect alone, it's like das niknes. You know what's das niknes? Das niknes is like if you have a donkey that every day you take it to a ride. So you go the same trip.
Right.
On the way back, you don't have to touch the donkey. He knows already his way back.
Yeah.
Why does he know? How come he knows his way back? Doesn't have navigation.
He does it a million times.
Because he did a few times, so it was acquired in his mind
right.
that on his way back, when he gets home, he's going to get food. And he goes faster on his way back automatically.
Right.
And he knows the way. It's captured. It's not that he has intellect. You told him you're going to go straight and you're going to make a left, and it was acquired by him. It's like something that had to be instilled in him.
You know, this cat, the cat that's outside there. He knows when somebody's going to come and give him something.
Of course. כיוון שהידיעה ממשל האסכולה והעוון כמו ידיעה נקנס. It's acquired knowledge, אבל הוא בעצם אינו יודע, he himself does not know. So it's almost like a knowledge that is outside of you.
What is?
Just the intellect, without das.
Yeah.
אבל הוא בעצם, לא לכן גם לך יש לו אסכולה ועונו, והוא נשאר עוני. So look at a guy who reads a book, for example, I don't know, take stocks, okay? One guy reads the book of stocks, and doesn't do anything with it. He read it. He understood it.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Another guy took the book, read it, and applied it. So the guy who applied it has das. The guy who did not apply it didn't have das. Because the guy who applied it means that he connected with what was said to such degree that he's now using that knowledge.
In stocks, it's a little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
I think little luck is a dangerous thing. It's more of a dangerous thing.
True. But you go to it's the same thing as the casino. Like I told you the time to put 75 cents, I got 1,200. And for
some say that a hard work equals greater luck.
After the whole, I mean, I don't go. Listen, I might go in a casino once every 2 years for a half. My wife and I say, all right, $20 for you, $20 for me. You blow the $20, get the hell out. That's how we do it.
Right.
So, but since then, nothing.
Yeah. Maybe you should up it to 30 or 40.
No, I'm just saying that we decide. Okay, you know, all right, we have a little time for it. Not, I don't really.
Right.
I walk in and walk out. I don't even have to walk in. I hate the places.
אבל בעצם אין יודע, הלוכן גם לך יש לו אסכולה ועונו. So even after he has grasping and understanding, הוא נשאר עוני, he remains poor. ועל ידי הדס, דווקא through knowledge you go out of your state of poorness, הוא יוצא מהניוסה ונעשה עשיר, becomes a wealthy man.
Yeah, the self-made people, they can change their head.
Like, I remember I met the Goy. He was very motivated,
Yeah.
and he was successful. So he told me that his motivation was from that his father didn't have money, that he grew up without money. So he didn't want him. He promised himself that he doesn't want to be poor.
Okay.
So he does everything he can that he should be on a different level financially. That's just an example. So you said, what's the difference between him and another person that grew up in a normal home? That by him not wanting to be poor was much stronger than a regular person not wanting to be poor. Someone who grew up in a normal home, everything was comfortable, maybe wasn't rich. Nobody wants to be poor. But by him growing poor, his conviction was so strong that it gave him so much motivation to work harder than other people.
You had that with Ben Carson. You know who Ben Carson is?
Yeah, the brain surgeon, right?
Right. He's now the head of the HUD but he came from a single family home, poor in the ghetto, the whole thing.
Right. Where do you get the, say, intensity, strength, potency? It's with das. When someone decides to do something because he recognizes and he feels that this is the right thing to do, he's going to do it all the way out.
Right.
His resolution, his decision to do something is much stronger than someone that decides through chokhmah and bina alone, through just intellect alone. So someone that experienced das, that the knowledge learned was translated to feelings,
Right.
and to a bond, his decision to change or to do something about it, about the new acquired knowledge, is going to be much stronger than the guy with chokhmah and bina. That's like the example that I just told you about. Both people don't want to be poor, but the one who was poor, the one that experienced being poor,
Right.
his resolution not to be poor is much stronger than the guy who never experienced it.
Right.
What is asogo?
Offense?
Grasping something, perceiving something, understanding something. It's through a discussion, back and forth discussion, that you are considering both sides, you're hearing both sides, what Rava said, what Shmuel said. You connect yourself with one of them, right? Shaklo v'tar, you hear both sides. There's room for a different type of approach. There's room for another understanding, another view. Therefore, resolution that is being made because of understanding, just understanding alone, it's not strong enough. It's not with fervor. It's without fervor. So there's achlata, the resolution made to go with this approach, but it was just intellectual. For example, terrorists in Israel, when they commit a terrorist attack, the court has to approve to destroy their homes, right?
Right.
For deterrence. So the other people see, oh, their home was destroyed, they're maybe not going to send their kids to be a terrorist also.
Right.
They found it to be effective.
Okay.
That even parents called the police and told them that my son is about to do something to stop him before he does it.
So that way they won't blow the house up.
Exactly, because they care about the house.
And themselves.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously they'll tell them to get out, but
Yeah.
they can't. They don't want the house to be destroyed. So they call it. It's better he's getting caught. It's even better for him because the terrorist himself will be locked up in jail for a little while, and then he will go about his life instead of being killed. Right.
Right. Or in jail for a long time.
But the point that I want to say is, if God forbid he did his thing, he did his terrorist act,
Right.
and now decided to destroy his house.
Right.
So if the decision to destroy his house coming from the judge, that maybe not even related to the family that was impacted by the act, it's a different type of decision. But if the father has to decide to destroy his house, that decision is
the father of the victim.
The father of the victim, and decides to destroy the house of the terrorist. Whoa, that decision is betoikev, is with fervor. No one is going to move him from that decision.
Right, because he wants revenge.
Because he's shaykh to it. He feels it's negat him.
Not only that, he doesn't want it to happen to anybody else. He could have both selfish and a not so selfish motivation.
So it seems like that any kind of decision that is made out of das, out of that it's negat to me, it really touches me, and I feel it. It's a much stronger decision.
You notice today we're learning the tshuva, tshuva. Now it says, and I'm thinking about it. You have to do the tshuva right. You have to have that feeling that having the shaykhs to Hashem, that if to feel like I blew it with Hashem by doing whatever I did, and then you could move into the tshuva.
If you feel you are in a relationship, you want to savor the relationship. Right. But if you don't feel that your relationship, then what's the point?
So if you don't have the internalization of the relationship with Hashem, that there was one and maybe I messed it up.
Right.
Same thing like a wife or whatever.
Right.
Then you're not going to be able to do everything you need to do for the tshuva.
והקור והרגושו היא בעצם הסברות. בעצם הסברות אין נסין הסמוקים לסבור ההופכיס. לא כן האחלות שמצד הקור אינו משתנס. So when we say v'akor v'argosho, when decision is made out of das, that someone had, he's makir, he sees it. It's not just knowledge that was told to him. He feels that it's relating to him. So when he makes a decision, he goes into the essence of the reason why he made that decision, why he took that svara, that view, and not another view. The be'etzem hasvor in a similar so when you look at the essence of the cause or the reason why you do something, there's no room for an opposite opinion. And therefore, the achlota, the decision, is not mishtanis. It's not. And I think there's a good example to it. In the early years, after the establishment of the State of Israel, in the early years, they understood that every war is matter of life and death. Right. It's matter of not just life and death, but existing or not existing.
Right.
So if we lose the war, we're dead. Finished. There's nothing left. We're not going to be. But the more, as the years go by, they feel more secure.
Right.
There's less of it's a matter of, so there's a little attack here, attack there. It could happen also in Switzerland. It can happen. But it's not, nothing is going to change. England is going to stay England, and Israel will stay Israel. Life will go on.
Right. Then you have less motivation.
Less motivation. There's more room. There's also an enemy that we have to consider their side. What's their point of view? When the fight is about your very essence, you know that there's no if you lose it, that's it, it's gone.
Yeah.
Then you're not even looking at their svara, at their pain, at their suffering. Who cares? It's about you. But when it's not negea to you, you're living maybe in Tel Aviv and there's some rockets flying somewhere else. Oh, okay, so listen, they're also suffering. There's this. And suddenly you give room to their svara.
So when the rockets finally go to Tel Aviv, which they did,
Suddenly you get up, wake up. Because now it's negea to you.
you know, they haven't had a rocket attack for a while over there. I mean, not to change the topic.
בזה שלמה זה שהחוכמה בינה עצמה. חוכמה בינה
You shouldn't say that.
בלי דאס הם בכין הסעניוס. הוא לא מגיע לעוד. It says chokma, someone that has chokma and bina without das is anius. Is anius meaning is being poor.
Yeah.
Why did we say en oshir ela bedas? To be an oshir has to have das. So someone that has chokma and bina without das is a poor man.
Yeah.
And he says it's not just b'negia la'odom. הידיעה שמצד חוכמה בינה דבר נסף על האודום. When you know something that through Chokhmah and Bina alone, it's something that is added to you. It's nosaf. It's an addition to what you have already. V'odom atzmei hu chasar yediah. The person himself lacks. The person himself. If something is added to you, it's not you. Something is piled up on your back. It's not you. It's a load that you have in your back. Knowledge that does not relate to you is just a load on your hard drive. You got a hard drive here. It's just a load of information you don't need.
Right.
So you remain oni because the information is irrelevant to you.
Right.
That's why I think that most of the time people involved with politics, they waste their brain and their time. Why? They're remaining only because this information is not relevant to them. How is it going to do anything about their bottom line? How is it going to change their lifestyle? If a person would be truly caring about his life, he's going to say, okay, most people live this amount of life. I have now. If everything goes well, I have this amount of time.
Yeah.
I heard that Buffett makes these calculations. He says, according to normal mortality, I have 2, 3, 5, whatever.
Right.
He said, do I want to spend it on he said to this, and she said back, and who said this?
Yeah.
I want to spend it on things that really brings me joy. Really changing my life.
Yeah, I believe it. Except you have a situation now where these local. I mean, like some people have a hana from the beach or from the. I mean, I know this, and I know it's external stuff, but they take away like the quality of life because of this stupidity. Then
because they allow it to take away their quality of life. It doesn't have to take away their quality of life. Meaning, if someone else is in the White House, it's going to change the way you eat. It's going to change the way you sleep.
Right, but
you maybe don't like the guy.
Okay.
You don't like this.
Let's not do the president. Let's do the Palm Beach County commissioners.
It's true that the commissioner would make decisions that are more that can impact your life much more than the president of the United States. I agree.
I don't care about the president. All right, forget
I'm
that.
saying in general, or any kind of party,
these guys,
Republican or Democrat.
No beach curfew. You can only go out this amount of time. I mean, all these kind of things. I mean, it does make your life uncomfortable.
Yeah, but the likelihood for them to get involved in your life is very slim. It's just because of the epidemic now that they are forced to do something.
It's an excuse for them to do these things.
Okay, maybe they enjoy the ride also.
Right. I mean,
they might enjoy the ride.
Look, I don't want to talk. You told me mention a certain person in the shul that gets off on telling people yes, no, do this, do that.
Right. Maybe he gets a kick out of it.
So, and he outside of there he knows better, but in there I don't know.
Anyhow,
But I'm just saying that it does impact on you. And there's certain ways that certain things. I'm not saying the president, but the Palm Beach County Commissioner,
But the point,
or the guy who runs Century.
the point that he says over here is that just because you have Chokhmah Bina doesn't make you rich.
Okay, fine.
Because the Chokhmah Bina is like something that is your wisdom, your understanding. It's, and when you now acquire something, acquire knowledge, it's double nice. It's an added to you. Even the intellect itself and grasping that intellect, Chokhmah Bina is a politician. What does that mean as a politician? He understands something, he sees a perspective, he says, okay, but there's still room for another perspective. There's still room for another point of view. Right? When do you have the patience to start saying, okay, what did he say? What did he say? I'm going to listen to both of them and figure out when it's not negate to you, when it's not das, it's in a state of intellect.
And there's something happened last night which was very weird.
One second. Since he's a wealthy man in his essence, that we said, he doesn't have any kind of deficiency, he doesn't lack anything, a true wealthy man. So even though deficiency of others is bothering him, and the davening for them, it's as if he's lacking something. It does not create any deficiency in him. And his prayer is the prayer of a wealthy man, not from a sense of he's lacking something, rather he's asking for others. We'll stop here, we'll continue, God willing, tomorrow.
So last night, these idiots in